Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the essential homemaker elderberry syrup. I formulated this recipe probably 3 years ago, and it was out of a need. Again, it seems like all the things that I create are out of a need, and I got really sick. I got really sick, and nothing was helping me. Um, it seemed like I was sick for over a week, and I was just sick of being sick, so I decided to make something to help me to feel better. And what came out of it was a couple of days of research, like hard research, and then the elderberry syrup was created. There's a lot of medicinal benefits to my syrup. The berries themselves are great. There is a wealth of benefits to be had by them. And it's not just for cold and flu. There's allergies, GI problems, chronic fatigue. There's just a very long list of benefits to elderberries. The highlight or the star of the show, in my opinion, isn't the elderberries, it's the Manuka honey because of its therapeutic benefits. Of course, there's a wide spectrum of the UMF factor. So UMF is the unique Manuka factor, and that's the honey that I use is a raw Manuka honey, and it's a 20, at least 16. If I can get 20 plus, I use 20 plus. The majority of the time, it's 16, but 20 sells out super fast. But I do use 20 when I can get access to it. But the UMF factor indicates the presence of two immunomodulatory factors, or boosting boosting our immune system, and it's leptospirin and methylglyoxal. It also has DHA, but the other two are what's going to really boost that immune system. So you've got elderberries that also boost your immune system, and they also impact like viruses in a very unique way. So it breaks down that coat so that it can't actually penetrate into the cells. So the virus is there, but it can't do anything. That's why it's able to reduce the symptom severity and duration, because it just can't. Viruses have to have DNA. They don't have their own DNA. They penetrate cells, they take over our DNA, and then that's how they replicate. So if they can't get in the cell, they just kind of hang out and die off because there's no host. So I have also added turmeric powder and turmeric essential oil, black pepper essential oil, ginger, clove, and cinnamon bark as well. I wanted this to be a really well-rounded syrup. I didn't want it to be something that I didn't want it to be like anything else. I wanted to make something unique and really powerful to help people when they're sick, because being sick is terrible. We have jobs, we have families, there's stuff to do, and nobody has time to get sick. So I wanted to really have something unique and something that would work. So I felt like with the presence of the elderberry, and 1 tablespoon is a maintenance dose for like your average human. So if you're about 160, 100 to 70 pounds, that's going to be your dose. Maybe it's 150 to 170. That would be, 150 to 170 pounds. You would use 1 tablespoon a day just as a preventative maintenance dose to keep that immune system supported. Especially right now, Indiana has just switched from, I think it feels like winter, but it's awful. It's like 40 degrees and it's wet and it's cold, and I want to go back to summer. But I can't do that unless I move, and I'm not doing that. So this time is like super important, in my opinion, that you take a preventative dose every single day. With all of those ingredients, I feel like you are supporting yourself in the best way possible. Our vitamin D exposure is greatly reduced. We went from being in the summer, a lot of us were outside or had our windows down, and we basically had an abundance of vitamin D. Well, now we don't have that, and that really depresses the immune system, because the days are like really cloudy and overcast, and so we don't have that exposure. And supplementing is good with vitamin D, but then you have other cofactors that are required with it, like magnesium and potassium K2. So a lot of us don't get that, and it doesn't work as well in our bodies. So it's a little bit harder to extract all that goodness versus the natural sun. And it's important to boost the immune system because this is when we tend to get colds. There's not really a cold and flu season. It's just the change in seasons causes microbes to really flourish, and our immune systems kind of go down a little bit from the lack of the sun. And so those two things together, we've put them together and called it a cold and flu season, even though it's really two separate things. It's important to take the preventative dose on a daily basis. You can boost it when you do get sick to 2 or 3 times. I would caution the 3-time increase only because elderberries can aid in constipation. So if you tend to err on that side of your frequency, I would maybe only double or use smaller doses several times a day. But if you happen to notice that your bathroom visits are more frequent, then you can scale back as well. The 1 tablespoon dose of my elderberry syrup is 1 gram of elderberries, and there's only 1 gram of sugar. And you can compare that to a lot of the other syrups on the market that are available right now. And it's about 6 times less. It's really important when it comes to the body because the body really doesn't care if you're sick or not. It cares about homeostasis. So if you have an abundance of sugar, even a few grams, it's going to recruit insulin, and that's going to leave your immune system on idle for 2 to 6 hours. The average is 5, but because it needs to maintain homeostasis, so it's got to process sugar before it can deal with an illness. So if you're constantly consuming sugary syrups to make you feel better, you're actually not, you're really doing yourself a disservice because it's not really boosting your immune system to the best of its ability. So getting an elderberry syrup that's really low in a very high quality sugar source, it is better off in the long run. The Manuka honey has an incredible therapeutic medicinal benefit to it that it just was a no-brainer to choose that as my sweetener of choice because it was so low sugar but so high value. Then I also don't heat the honey, which I've contacted other companies and they do heat their honey even though it is labeled as raw on the label. Yes, the original ingredient is raw, but then it's heated to melt it to make it into a syrup or to incorporate it into a syrup and make the end product be syrupy, whereas mine's like pretty thin. I don't know if you can see it. It's more like a juice versus a syrup because it's got such a low sugar content to it because that's not what your immune system needs. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. Pretty passionate about this, if you can't tell. The essential oils are just a supporting agent to the Manuka honey and the elderberry. And then, of course, I really want to keep that inflammation low with the 2 sources of turmeric and then the biopotentiation of the black pepper to make that turmeric more bioavailable to the body. So I hope this helps. Make sure you refrigerate your elderberry syrup. It's good for about 6 months if you keep it in the refrigerator. I've actually kept it longer. I've never had a bottle go bad. I've tried to keep one open. I did have a bottle ferment when I left it on the counter. So if you're going to leave it out at room temperature, expect it to only last 3 to 4 weeks versus 6 months. So it's best to refrigerate it if you plan on keeping your bottles long term. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm here to help. Love you guys. Bye.